Hello, it's Ryan from 2minutetennis.net, and in this video, I'm going to help you win more singles matches with a really simple strategy that might seem like, of course, it's so obvious, but I don't see a lot of recreational players using it. And that is, if the ball comes slightly to your backhand, let's say this is you and you're right-handed, the ball comes slightly to your backhand, you move around it and you hit a forehand. I teach a lot of 3-0, 3-5, 4-0 players. And when I introduce this concept to them, they'll say, oh my gosh, that's so obvious. I even watch the pros do it, yet I don't do it enough, Ryan. And I say, that's why I'm teaching it to you. Your goal is to put your strength against your opponent's weakness as often as possible. Just watch the pros. The pros don't accept a weak ball coming right to their backhand. If a weak ball comes to their backhand, again, this is if they're right-handed, and I'll do it with a lefty in a second here, you will see them move around it. You know, people ask, why is the inside-out forehand such a popular shot? Like, what is it about this inside-out forehand? What is an inside-out forehand? Well, first, an inside-out forehand is when you run around your backhand to hit a forehand, and then you hit it away from you cross-court. So inside-out for a right-hander is moving around the ball and preferably into the court. Like, you don't want to do this where it's a high bouncing ball pushing you back and you're moving backward to hit a forehand. You don't want to do that. You want to do this when you can move forward and attack. So you move around it. Now you've got a forehand and you hit it cross court from your forehand side, from the side that's closest to the middle of the court. So it's not like it's a backhand and you're just hitting a cross court backhand, but you're moving around it, hitting a forehand, again, if you're right-handed, and the ball goes that way. The reason the inside-out forehand is so popular is because if your opponent is right-handed, this is their backhand. So you can put your strength, typically the forehand, against their weaker side, their backhand. Anytime you can put your strength against their weakness, it's a good thing. Now, when you do this enough in a match, like literally in a 20-minute span, if you can do this 3 or 4 or 6 or 9 times, what happens is your opponent starts to say, oh, I know where he's going, or I know where she's going. She's going to go over here. She's going to try to go inside out to my backhand. That's when it's a good idea to hit inside in. Inside in is when you move around your backhand to hit a forehand, and then you hit down the line. Now, it's a little risky because you're now hitting to their forehand side, again, if they're right-handed, and you're on the same side. So if they do get that ball and you're over here, they can hit it cross-court away from you and you can be in trouble. So this isn't a foolproof plan. You have to establish the inside out first enough where you keep hitting it over and over into that shot. That way they keep moving. Then when you go inside in, they're too far away and they can't get the ball. The idea is the same if you're left-handed. This is you and you're left-handed. You're hitting the ball comes slightly, you're rallying back and forth, the ball comes slightly to your backhand side. Now, I'm not talking about over there. I mean, even though sometimes you'll see Rafa Nadal do that, but like I've seen Rafa go over here to hit a forehand. It's absolutely nuts. But for us mortals, we are not going to do that. If the ball comes slightly to your backhand, if you're a lefty, move around it. Now, this is where you'll see a lot of lefties then go inside in a lot, because for lefties, most of your opponents are right-handed. So that's when they're going to go here and go inside in. Remember, inside out for a lefty is cross court this way. It's the opposite of what we saw for the righty. But instead of hitting to the opponent, who's probably right-handed, instead of hitting to their strength, their forehand, you're going to run around it and then hit it inside in to their backhand. Whenever you can create your strength against your opponent's weakness, it's a good idea. Now, when you do this, you don't want to just hit the shot in isolation and watch your shot. In my podcast, and check it out, 2-Minute Tennis podcast on Spotify, Google Podcasts, just kind of where you listen to podcasts, you'll hear it. One of the episodes, and many episodes, I talk about pairing shots with movement. Think about baseball. As soon as you hit the baseball, where are you supposed to go? You're supposed to run to first base. Like, you know, it's ingrained. It's like, I'm going to hit the ball and then I'm going to run somewhere. Tennis is the same thing. When you're hitting the ball, you need to know what you're going to do, whether you're successful or not successful with your shot. And when you're moving around your backhand to hit a forehand, let's say you're right-handed, when you're moving around your backhand to hit a forehand, the reason you're doing this is to hit a better shot than you would have if you were hitting a backhand. Now, if your backhand is ridiculous and it's your strength, then don't run around your backhand to hit a forehand. Why would you hit your weaker side? You know, if the ball's coming to your backhand, hit your awesome backhand. But if you're running around your backhand to hit a forehand, you're doing so because the shot you're going to hit with your forehand would be better than the shot you would have hit with your backhand. So go for a good shot. And if you can, hit a strong, deep shot to the opponent's weaker side. If they're right-handed, that's usually deep to the backhand. And the moment you strike that ball, you need to start moving forward. And you have to move forward toward them, right? Meaning you're gonna move forward where you hit the ball. As they go over to get it, you're now in position. Their next ball comes, you volley it into the open court. I don't want you to just think of your inside out or inside in forehands in isolation. And this is really anytime. Anytime you hit a ball, you have to know where to go after you hit it. You have to pair, like pairing red wine with steak. You know, like you're pairing two things. You want to pair hitting with movements. And when you do that, it opens up a world of strategy that you may not be tapping into. So I don't want you to just accept a backhand coming to you. When you're rallying back and forth and the ball comes over here, if you're right-handed, that's a backhand. That's clearly a backhand. But if the ball comes slightly to your backhand, especially if you're just waiting there, if it's like a slow ball and you could even step in, don't wait for the ball to come to your backhand. Move around it and really try to only do this when you're able to step inside the court. I don't want you doing this if the ball is pushing you back in order to do it. But move around your backhand to hit a forehand and start initially just peppering the ball to your opponent's backhand side, which is typically this direction. That's the inside out. And then when you do that, move forward and they're going to be in trouble. Then once you do that enough and your opponent sees you doing this and they can expect you to go inside out, that's when you then use the opportunity to go inside in. And now they're like, man, no matter which way I guess, I'm going to lose the point. When you move around your backhand to hit more forehands in your next singles match and in all your singles matches, there's no doubt you're going to gain confidence, win more matches, and play much better tennis. This is Ryan Reedy from 2minutetennis.net. You got this.